So we are here with Clare London.
Hello.
We are hanging out outside at the Dream Spinner conference in Orlando. Our very first outside interview.
I'm very honoured.
Interview al fresco.
Yes.
Great way to put it.
With weather that couldn't be more different than London.
Yeah.
or in our part of Northern California too.
Oh.
Definitely.
Rain, fog,
Is
rain
it?
for you guys.
Oh, but yeah. Rain, cold.
So for our listeners who don't know you, and all of you should know Clare,
Yeah, but I understand if you don't.
introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Clare London. I'm an author here at the Dream Spinner Conference. I come from London, as you may guess from the accent. I write about London. I write gay romance. I have done for about 10 years. Been published for about 10 years. Also wrote fan fiction before then.
What kind of fan fiction? What were you fanning over?
Oh, I was Gundam Wing. I know, everybody.
What?
No, because there's a small group of people here that came with me from the fandom. It's quite fun to
Okay.
meet up now after all those years. It's a Japanese anime series. Yeah, 5 teenage pilots piloting huge mecha machines. What's not to love?
Indeed.
And slash. So, loved writing. I mean, I've always written. I've always been a writer. Also an accountant. So I mix the words and the figures.
It goes with what they were saying in a session earlier this morning, that you've got the fire and the algebra. You've got the algebra part too.
Next to that,
Yeah.
because it is, and it's. I mean, we might talk. I think we're talking later about the method of writing and those sorts of things. But I am very precise and numeric with my writing process. Really sad.
What prompted you to move from fandom into your own unique original fiction?
Because there are huge benefits to fan fiction, and you build a community, you build friendships. But after a while, I got tired of writing about the same characters.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't make them do what you wanted. You couldn't kill people off. You couldn't create. I mean, I did write in what they call AU, alternate universe, so it wasn't canon. But it just got frustrating, and I wanted to write original from first principles.
And this was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is a long time in this particular genre.
Yeah.
What was that? Who were you? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was your first original piece published, and who was it with?
My first, rather topically, was Branded, which has just been re-released
Oh, yeah.
at DSP
Okay.
Publications.
Yeah.
I wrote it as a NaNoWriMo piece.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the first book because it's a combination of two, and finished it off and submitted that to Dream Spinner. They said, could you do a follow-up, because this wasn't a happy ending? Because in those days I didn't know about all the romance tropes.
Right.
So it's got male-female in it, it's got male-male, it's got non-exclusive relationships. It's an alternate world, it's fantasy, everybody has a good time. And but it didn't end. There was high angst, and it didn't end happily. And so I wrote a follow-up.
Okay.
And then a few years later, they combined them both into Branded, and it's just been re-released with a kick-ass cover.
The cover's
The
awesome.
cover is...
It's gorgeous.
I know I'm biased, but it's...
No, as soon as you put it up on Facebook, I'm like, wow.
Oh. Anne Kane at her finest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of celebrating your 10th anniversary then, the re-release after a fashion.
Yes, yeah, a year or so off, I think. But yes, because I think I wrote it for the whatever it would have been, 2006 Nano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Congrats.
Thanks.
What's coming up new in your pipeline?
I've learned a lot since then. Well, I'm also got involved in the new line at Dream Spinner, the Dream Spun Desires, where they're taking the Harley Quinn tropes and re-imaging them, if you like, for male. So I've got one of those coming out later this year.
Awesome.
Called Romancing the Wrong Twin. It's been, oh God, it was fun to write.
Romancing the Wrong Twin. That's going to be a good one. I can just tell by the title.
I think they talk about tropes and being perhaps cliched, whatever. That was actually, I found quite empowering to write. It was just fun. And I'm also doing some more in the With a Kick ice cream series that I do with Sue Brown. So there's another one of those coming out in the next month.
Awesome.
Called Double Scoop. So they've all got ice cream related titles. That's, I think. I have actually been talking to Dreamspinner as well about some of my novellas re-releases, but with a very strong London theme.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be working on something perhaps provisionally entitled London Lads.
Okay.
Series of novellas of romance.
Talk to us about With a Kick a little bit.
Yeah,
that's a series that you and Sue Brown do. You don't co-write them per se, but
No.
you alternate who's doing the books.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that come about?
I think we were ourselves talking about we'd like to work together, even if it's not on, as you say, a single manuscript. We both live quite close to each other. We were meeting up. We both love London. And she'd been to, I think, an alcoholic ice cream shop in London once. And we'd found it online, and it's now vanished, of course, somewhere around Soho. But we thought, what a brilliant idea. Just people that come and go through the shop, but each have their own story.
Mm-hmm.
So we've taken it alternately. And I've done a couple of shorter stories as well for her. And I'm just about to release. Double Scoop will be the story of Patrick and Lee, who run the shop, who really have been sort of pining after each other for 7 books.
How much do you two connect over what stories you're writing, and how do you plot the overall arc, or does it just you say I'm going to write this and then Sue says I'm going to write that?
Well, no, we did. We started with an overall arc. We always envisaged it about 6 full-length novellas, and we knew what would happen with Patrick and Lee and the shop, and then in amongst that. And then as you build the layers as well, it's never that straightforward. So I will bring one of her characters in. She will bring one of mine. In Pluck and Play, which was my 3rd title, they had a big denouement at the end with the villain, and all the different characters bundled in to play a different role in it to help out their friends. So there's a connection. It's not a whole big buddy family or anything, but somebody knows somebody, which is London, really.
And you said this is book 7. How many more do you guys see?
I don't know. I'd love to do some more. Sue's working on some other projects, so am I. So I mean, I know we may have got to a resolution for Patrick and Lee, but I think there's still more stories, more ice creams to invent, because each story has its own unique ice cream flavour.
You can have a whole side marketing thing there, selling ice cream.
We keep saying we should set the shop up ourselves. I'm going to try all the recipes this summer. We're going to make ice cream. Yeah.
That'll be some good blog posts, if nothing else.
That's true.
And you're self-publishing those titles, right?
Yeah. I've got my own publishing. I call Jocular Press, and she self-publishes it as well. So, just to try again. Not that I would go exclusively either way at the moment. I quite like this hybrid.
Hybrid seems like a nice way to go, because then you could put things out as you need to keep your exposure up, while also getting the visibility that I think some of the larger presses like Dreamspinner can bring to the table. There's
definitely pluses both ways. I wouldn't have tried self-publishing from a standing start, because how would people know you're there? So the benefit is if you're with a publisher. Plus, it's fabulous to work with a professional publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the benefits, I think. But now and it's extra hassle self-publishing. But
there are additional things you have to know.
It is immediate. You know, the times I've loaded something and then had to scrabble to get it back because I've missed a chapter. So, the last chapter.
Yeah.
So, but it's great to see it come up that quickly. And yeah.
And you keep a little bit more of the money.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm not
a bad thing.
Yet, but it's not a bad thing.
So you went full time with writing, right?
More or less, yeah. It wasn't necessarily a decision to go full time; it was a decision to leave the full time job I was doing. But I thought, yes, great, time to write more. Not quite sure I'm disciplined enough to be a full time writer. I do get distracted easily, so I'm still running, accountancy contract work here and there. And I'm not making enough to live on with the writing.
Someday, right?
Someday. I think it is a layer thing, isn't it? I think you keep going and you build a snowball effect.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
assume.
because what we've been saying here most of the weekend is like, and write the next book, and write the next book, and write the next book.
And that marketing is cumulative. I thought that
Mhm.
was quite telling. Something we've learned from this, wasn't it?
How you've been writing the next book for a while now?
Had several next books for them.
How many have you done in 10 years? Do you know?
Probably not. I've got about eight novels,
Okay, yeah.
but a good 12 to 15 novellas. No, probably nearer 20.
Okay.
And then a small batch of short stories, because I like that format as well.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah. I'd like to do some longer works.
What's your overall writing process?
Well, I get up, I open it. I try. I'm not particularly an outliner. I'm not a plotter, but I have learned over the years that I need to have some structure, because I think a lot of us, the excitement of the characters and the new idea keep you going for what I call the chapter 3 critical phase, when it all bogs down. You know how it ends, you know how it starts. The 50,000 words in the middle is the difficulty. So what I do now is I try to plan it out, but fairly broadly, in 3 to 4 major moves. Then I will keep a note of the chapters within that and what's happened in them and how many words they are. I like things to be slightly, regular, and to build to not a cliffhanger necessarily, but a proper finish to each chapter. So I plot it a bit like that, and then I just write. Sometimes when I get stuck, I will go ahead, so I can write out of order, which I know a lot of people can't. I also will do sort of sprint sessions, whereby I'll just do the dialogue, I won't bother with punctuation, just to get a feel and go back in and fill in, because then you can immerse yourself in the character and you can get a refresher, I think, of the excitement behind it in the story. So yeah, I try to write most days, probably a couple of days a week full time, all through the day.
How long do you find that you can actually sit and write until you just can't anymore?
4 hours is my maximum.
For the day, or is that like a 4-hour session and then okay?
Really all in. And to be honest, I've rarely done more than 3,000 words a day. That seems to be I come in at about 2 normally.
Do you tend to do writing sprints, or is it just you're sitting and you're just working and however far you get, that's it? Or
yes, I think the benefit that I've developed in trying to do this sort of looking at it chapter-wise or in bits, I don't anymore write in one large manuscript either, because I found that quite depressing. I'd go in the morning, there'd be 40 pages, and I'm still tinkering with the first paragraph, because I get, I now push myself on. I say, no, we want this chapter when this is happening. And then it's just one small document, and then I will pull them together later and do the sanity check.
Interesting.
And so just as a prompt, I find that keeps me going.
So you try not to edit as you go, too?
I try, but it's impossible.
Sure.
Well, that's the joy, I think. I mean, I've done some writing here this weekend in a book. I love it on screen, because you can edit as you go, you can make sense of it, you can pop backwards and forwards easily in the chapter. I like that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed, actually, you were doing some chapter outlining yesterday while we were having breakfast in the book.
Yeah.
And it's rare to see that get written on paper anymore.
I know. Sometimes it's what you need, because you need to just look at the words.
And yet you say you don't chapter outline all the time either.
No. More so nowadays. A shorter work, I think that you could do it would carry itself.
Mm-hmm.
But anything like a novel, I think needs a little more discipline.
Yeah, otherwise, because I've become more of a plotter as I've, refined my process, and now I find I really can't I feel like it becomes a mishmash if I don't kind of know what's supposed to go on in the chapters.
I think it just makes for a better document, doesn't it? Better manuscript, because it's been. I mean, all of fiction is contrived, so contrive it properly, sort of thing.
That should go on a T-shirt.
You know,
Claire
contrive it
says.
properly. Contrive it properly. Do a good contrivance.
You should get Damon to add that to his
Yeah.
presentation.
Yes,
Yes.
but you do want the fire as well.
Yes.
And you can plot yourself out of excitement, can't you? Some authors will say plotting it takes away the spirit of a spontaneity. But
I think there's still, as long as you leave yourself room,
yeah,
I'm happy to add another chapter if I all of a sudden go, this might be really good here. Let's drop that in and write
and
it.
don't you find as you write, particularly dialogue, I find it's taking on a life of its own, and your characters are they're not writing the book, you're writing the book, but they're saying, you know, you're finding a little bit of a banter that wasn't there, or yeah, I like that.
Oh man, I had a question and I lost it.
Damn, sorry, I distracted you.
No, it's like it was a very sudden, like, I lost it.
Sort of.
What advice, this was the question,
Mm.
in terms of going full-time, what advice do you have to somebody who's thinking about making that leap to trying to make writing the full-time
Well,
gig?
it's quite easy because you have to win the lottery. And then, no, it's, I mean, it's...
I would love that.
I mean, you can't say, can you? But I personally feel that you don't want the money worry. I've known people who are writing purely to keep going financially. So if there's any way of already having some income behind you, or a partner, or savings, or something to give it a go, because I mean, think like we were just saying about being a hybrid author, you haven't got control over the timing of money. Anything to do with
Right.
retail, you haven't got
Right,
control
yeah.
over it at all. So if that were possible, and I also think you have to feel relatively confident in your writing. You know, everybody loves what they do, and you love it to start with, but I think after a while, if you've built a craft behind you, you are more confident in what you're producing that will sell or will.
And that you know you can
Yes.
produce it.
Yes.
That if you've said to Dream Spinner or even in your own publishing schedule that I will have this 50,000 word thing done by May 1st, you know that you can do
That's
it.
a huge motivation for me. I am not brilliant at, I've got 4 months. So it's got to be in by Tuesday. So I'm much more, it does concentrate my mind. I know I'm not so daft now that I think I can write 50,000 words in 4 days, but I think it's that. I also think that, because like you said, something just sprang into my mind. Another author said to me, you don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
So when you start, you don't know what you can produce. You don't know how well you work. You don't know if your first novel was that breakout novel, the 50 Shades equivalent. You know, you
Or The
could.
Martian, even. Because The Martian was,
Yes.
I think, his first novel that he self-published, and then he's up for an Oscar.
God. No, I wish him all the best. I think you have to be very honest with yourself as well. I think you have to know what you are like. You have to know if you've got the discipline, if it's really what you want. You know, writing isn't joy all the time, is it? Well, it's much of the time. It's slog, it's work, it's a job as well. It's a very solitary occupation. You know, all those things I think you have to look at. And as I say, I'm not sure I would want to do it solely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whether you work to deadlines, whether you don't.
And it sounds like you struck a nice balance between taking on accountancy contracts that you
Yeah.
will do, but then deciding how much time you're going to spend writing.
I mean, it's absolutely the best thing I ever did was leaving. Well, I have done a fair few years as well, so I think it had come to a right time, and it was all amicable and everything. But yes, I do still like the figures as well as the words, so that's fun. I'm also promoting, helping authors. So that's rather with their accounts. So that's rather a lovely way to blend the two.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm enjoying that. And I just like a lot of things in life. I think you need a broadish life to write well. I think, in my own opinion.
And you're active in the UK writing community too.
Yeah.
With the romance writers that are over there.
Yeah. We've been marvellous to see that grow over the last few years, because when I started, I didn't know any other authors at all, anywhere near me. All my friends, and particularly fan fiction, were all over here in the US, so that's been great. And then I'm on the committee for organising the UK Meet each year, where we gather together up to 150 fans of LGBT fiction. Completely egalitarian. If you want to come and can get a ticket, come. You don't have to be an author. You don't have to be, you can be a friend of an author. It really is just one ticket, one person. But you come along and you meet others. It's a network, fun weekend.
Where is the UK Meet this year?
It's Southampton.
Okay, awesome.
And when?
So it's in first weekend of September. Join the waiting list if you're interested.
Waiting list already?
We sold out in 24 hours.
Congratulations.
Which was marvellous. And it's not always the same people. A lot of people are coming for the first time again. We've got a clutch of people from the US are coming over, which is brilliant.
Is there a difference in readers? Like the readers that you'll meet, like let's say at GRL or another US event, are there different characteristics with UK? Do tell.
They're quieter.
They're quieter.
Yeah,
the UKs are quieter?
The UKs are a little quieter. They don't squeak quite so. Some of us do. Some of us do, like me. Yeah, I think so. They may be a little shyer because it's not. We don't tend to go in for those conventions over there anyway. I think people are maybe a little more nervous of coming out and joining other people that they don't know. So it's been really nice. We've promoted that. The one thing that you hear every year is, I'm not good with crowds. I'm not good with people. And then they come and they have a ball. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really nice. And they say, we're so glad we plucked up the courage just to come and say hello. And because we make a big thing of you can be as sociable or as unsociable as you like.
Mm-hmm.
But the readers, yeah, again, I think it's a growing market. I'm really pleased with Dream Spinners' sort of support of international authors, not just the US. Although, but it's always going to be a larger market here because you've got more people.
Right. I mean,
but
you get all of Europe to pull from,
I
too.
know, and it's a huge tradition of reading, and it is seen by the way that foreign translations are doing well. Which, we Brits do get a little bit arrogant, thinking everybody will read in English. Well, probably the US as well. So it's brilliant to hear that people do. And yes, we've got the whole of Europe.
What do you find as you get people in for the UK meet? You mentioned some coming from the US. What about the surrounding?
Yeah, reasonable amount as well from mainland Europe. It's mostly UK, I think. We've had from Australia. We've had attendees from Australia and Canada. Some Canadians this year. I mean, the first year we did it, or the second it was, we were in Brighton. There were just 2 guys in town for the weekend visiting family or something who came along, who saw the notice somewhere online and just dropped in. Because in those days we didn't sell out in advance.
That's nice being able to drop in.
Yeah. It's not a public event. It's not really a selling opportunity. We don't open to the public because, again, I think our attendees like to feel that it's their area and it's their safe space.
Right.
Not that you're doing anything particularly unsafe, but that it's a safe space
that
to relax.
You are there, perhaps, none of your friends know you read that kind of book. Or
although, it's a book. But that's the whole joy of ebook. That anybody can read anything and you don't know what they're reading anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it has been very, again, empowering to readers as well.
So to swing a little bit back towards your books.
Yeah, sorry. I'm talking
No,
too much.
not at all. You're talking exactly where we lead you.
Yes.
What do you think the trademark of a Clare London book is?
Well, having just sat through a very useful session on branding, creating
Yes,
my
what
own
are your brand
niche. Yeah, what are my
promises?
brand promises? Well, when I started writing, I did go for a generic setting because, again, most of the readers were US. And so nowadays, though, I'm really enjoying writing from a Brit point of view.
Yeah.
My characters are English people, British people, or they are living in Britain as well, because I do like different... Well, I live in a city that's made up of all different nationalities and different types of people. So I like to reflect that. So that I'm enjoying. I never wrote high melodrama very much, so I quite enjoy... It's not exactly rom-com, there can be more drama than that, but I like that domestic, just people finding out about each other and discovering romance.
Now, you mentioned one of your evolutions was you went from a generic place to writing about London and the UK. How else has your writing evolved and changed over the 10 years in ways that you've been able to notice?
It's got much better. It's much better crafted. I look back on the mistakes I made then. I don't think anybody minded. And you read some very good stuff now, or well-respected stuff that's not necessarily beautifully written. I think I'm trying to refine connecting with the reader. So those things I think I quite enjoy have changed. It used to be, from my point of view, what I was enjoying to write. So now I think I don't know, because I still write very much the same stuff. It's still romance. Better crafted, better settings. I used to be infamous for everything happened in 3 rooms. Really. I'm not known for the depth of my research. So that's why I write contemporary, because I understand that. And it was just 3 rooms, one of which was usually the kitchen. And I'll leave you to worry about the others. And so it was... I'm happier now. I'm more confident in taking it outside and bringing in different characters as well. Fan fiction, you get frustrated that it's always the same characters. I mean, that's the joy of it, but that's also the frustration of it. So it's been fun to open that out. Different lengths of fiction. I like to write short. I think that's a much maligned category.
And as we found out here, at least novellas, which are not super short in some cases, are in demand.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lovely length as well, novella, which is, it could be 15 up to 50.
Yeah, that's how they were classifying it yesterday.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that time, you can get a good plot arc. You can have several characters, because I think that one of the characteristics of longer works is the secondary characters, because, my God, I love my secondary characters. So, you don't want them to run away with the book, but you want enough. Nobody exists in that bubble, but there's only the 2 of you and whatever.
Right.
So novella to novel gives you that chance, I think.
In series too, because you must do that all the time with a kick. That somebody who showed up in book 1 may get their story in book 4 or whatever.
Yeah, I love that as well. It's the sort of, oh look, there's Curtis who delivers to the shop, or Riley who played the cowboy who plays his guitar outside, or those sorts of. And the Turkish restaurant in number 1 that comes up all the time, because the Turkish brothers are impossible. They're wonderful, but they're impossible. So yeah, it's I like that. I think that's the type of series I enjoy writing, not the one that takes the same 2 characters through different situations. Because once you've got them together, I write romance. Once you've got them together, you don't want to rip them apart just to bring them back.
Right, because that would be disruptive.
That would be too contrived.
Contrived in the wrong way.
Too contrived. Improperly. Yeah, it just...
Where can people find you online?
Okay, well, I have the website www.clarelandon.com. www.clarelondon.com. I'm also launching a new pen name, London Sinclair, where my Harlequin style romances will be.
So that's what your dream spun will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's currently mail, but who knows in the future. I'm also on Facebook, Clare London, Twitter, Clare_London, Goodreads, Amazon author page.
We'll link up to all that good stuff in our show
desperately
notes.
Yeah.
You're getting your SEO together, as we learned yesterday.
Yeah, hey, that's
Dream
another
Spinner
t-shirt.
Author Arcade.
That's another, yeah.
Let's not forget that one,
Which
because
we're
Poppy will
looking
come get
forward
us.
to. We're looking forward to that new version. Yeah.
All right, well, Claire, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a treat to sit in the sunshine.